One of the ways to increase the win rate of any strategy is to avoid trading during economic news. News events can introduce significant volatility in the market, which can adversely affect the performance of any strategy. Now, the question is, how would you go about labeling the news release times on your chart? Well, for starters, you could use a vertical line, like this one. Or you could use a marker, like this one. You could even use an arrow. But if you value clean charts and don't like the clutter that all these labels can add to your chart, then the indicator I'm going to showcase in this video is the one you've been looking for. So stay tuned, because we're going to explain exactly how to use it. Let's get into it. Now, the indicator that we're talking about is called NewsAlert. To add it to your chart, open the indicator search tab on TradingView and type in NewsAlert. Be sure to select this one by this TradingView user. Now, once you add this indicator to your chart for the first time, the only thing that you're gonna see is this label that says clear. The reason for this is because we haven't yet activated or set any news alert. So let's change some settings and explore how we can use this indicator to trade. So the first thing that we need to do is to change the chart time frame to 1 hour. After that, click on this gear icon right here to access the settings of the News Alert Indicator. Then on the Inputs tab, we're gonna set our news time. The reason why we need to set the news release time is because this indicator is not gonna show the news automatically. We need to manually input the news time in hours and minutes, and then it's gonna draw some labels on the chart that are gonna act as visual aids for news identification. So let's do that. So let's assume that on a particular trading day, the first news is gonna be released at 11 a.m. Well, you just come here to the indicator and then you input the hours for 11 a.m., which is 11, and the minutes remain at 0. And then you're gonna click here. It's gonna completely skew your chart, so I'm gonna reset this and then I'll be right back. Now, you will notice that after inputting 11 here, the news label was not drawn on the 11 a.m. candle. This is the 11 a.m. candle. So why wasn't this label drawn on this candle? Well, it's because of the time zone offset from EST. This indicator uses Eastern Standard Time. So in order to match it with the time zone of your chart, we will need to increase or decrease the offset until this label gets printed on this candle. So if we increase the offset, you can see that it's moving further away from this candle, which means we need to decrease the offset. But before we do that, let's talk about Hankotrade. Now, you may be thinking,
and what exactly is Hankotrade?
Well, Hankotrade is one of the most reliable forex brokers out there, and for that reason, I use them every single day. As you can see here, this is my trading history. I mainly scalp gold. And up here you can see that this is actually a live account. The reason why I love Hankotrade so much is because of their extremely low commissions and spreads. On Forex, for example, the spreads can go as low as 0.0 pips, which is actually the lowest spreads can go. And for those of you who love high leverage, guess what? Hankotrade offers a maximum leverage of 1 to 500. And if that's not enough, they're also going to give you a 100% bonus for all your first deposits up to $25,000. So if you deposit, say, $500, they're going to give you a bonus of $500. So in total, you'll have $1,000 to trade with. To access the bonus, as well as all the other perks, sign up to Hankotrade using the link in the video description. Now, back to the video. Now, let's see what happens when we decrease the offset. So as you can see, after reducing the offset all the way to -8, I was able to get the label printed on the 11 a.m. candle. This basically means that this is the offset that is gonna match this indicator's time zone to my time zone. And for you, you just need to do the same. And whatever number that matches the label with the news candle is what you're gonna go with. And this is the exact reason why we changed the chart time frame to 1 hour. Now, after we know the offset, we can then go and switch the time frame of the chart to whatever time frame that we're going to be using for trading. For example, let's go with 5 minutes. Then here, if you have news for, let's say, 11:35 a.m., you just put here 11 for the hour and 35 for the minutes. And then make sure it's activated. For news number 2, if you have it at 1 p.m., the hour for 1 p.m. will be 13 and the minutes remain at 0. And then you activate the second news time by clicking right here. for news number 3. Let's say you have it at 3:13 p.m. The hour for 3 p.m. is going to be 15 and the minutes is going to be set at 13. And then we click here to activate news number 3. These are our news labels. This white line in the center represents the news release time. This blue background color represents the minutes before and after the news. With the default settings, it's gonna be 10 minutes before the news and 10 minutes after the news. That is why, as you can see here, it's gonna be spanning 2 5-minute candles before the news and 2 5-minute candles after the news. If we wanted to avoid trading 30 minutes before and after the news, we will go back to the settings of this indicator and input here 30 minutes. And as you can see, all the labels were updated successfully. Also, if we wanted to change this background color to something different, we can just do that right here. As you can see, we also have options to change the line width, the line display style, and this is an option to show or hide the background colors. In the Style tab, we can disable the tables, the lines, as well as the boxes. Keep in mind that this indicator does not automatically generate the news labels on your chart. As you saw earlier, we went through a manual process to input the times for these 3 news labels. Now, if we go to bar replay and see the life cycle for these news labels, we can see that this tiny table on the bottom right corner changes its info based on how close the market is to the news. It always starts with active news with an incoming status, and then changes the status to release as soon as the news release time arrives. Then after the release, the status changes to ongoing. And then during the very last candle inside the news window, the status changes to last candle. Then after the news, the label changes to clear. And of course, it's going to be the same for these news labels. Now, if you wanted to set the news time to a future time, for example, the time now is this. If the news is going to be released at this time, you just access the settings of the indicator and you change one of these news times to this. You put the hours here and the minutes here. And as you can see, it's going to place your news label to that future time. Now, since you're limited to only 3 news labels at a time, you would need to replace individual news once the news passes. For example, if the 1300 news passes and you have another news at a different time, you just change this hour to that different time. And it's going to update your chart accordingly. In summary, the NewsAlert Indicator is a valuable tool for traders, helping them visually mark news release times, avoid market volatility, and make more informed trading decisions. Keep your charts clean and your strategies optimized with the NewsAlert Indicator. That's been it for this video. I hope you found some value. If you did, hit the like button below and consider subscribing to stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you next time.